Right now.
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 Because it's time to write now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
All right, welcome to our weekly writers group, where we are joined by other writers in the community. We come together and we do that one thing that we all love to do. We procrastinate from writing and we talk about all the writing stuff in between. So make sure to stick around. We're going to be talking about writing conversations, whatever is on your mind, chatting it up. If you have a question or if there's something you want to talk about, just drop a comment and then stick around. In a little bit, we'll get some writing sprints done and we will do all the things in between. So welcome. I see a bunch of you hopping into the chat. And as always, writers group is sick. So welcome to our 83rd Right Now Writers Group. By the way, if you're new here, welcome. I'm Kaufman, daily writing streamer and dragon enthusiast, soon to be fantasy author. So all that and more. And as you can see, I am joined by other writers in the community. Welcome one and all. I'll let everyone do their intro if you don't know who they are, and we'll cue it up. So I'll kick it over to you first, Sol.
So, hi everyone. Everyone knows me as Chat Soul, the person with the crazy high word counts. I have to admit, I've not been writing as much. I've been doing my bare minimum this week, but hopefully tonight I'm going to start picking back up on possibly Age of Ash. I'm going to be entering that into a competition. So, Don't know how well it's going to do, but they just want the first 5,000 words, so I'm just kind of going over that again.
Excellent. Absolutely love that. And let's see, one of our new friends here, additionally, I'll let you intro yourself.
Hello, everyone. So I'm not great with markets. I always have to read stuff about myself, but additionally, that's my name. I write character-driven stories about flawed people finding their way through impossible situations and worlds. Story where survival meets heart and even the broken can begin anew. And today I will be jumping between two different projects. I will be either editing a dark fantasy romance book that I'll have come out soon, or I'll be writing some critique information for a book that I read.
Absolutely love that, Ashley. Love that you're joining us this week. And Shannon, I'll kick it over to you.
Hello. Oh, you gotta come over here a little bit. So this is my son. He's joining me tonight. I'm Shannon, right under the pen name of SC Houston. I have a YouTube channel here under the same name of SC Houston. And I covered up my bio. I changed my bio recently. I write epic romantasy about broken characters, brutal choices, and love that refuses to let go in worlds of dangerous magic, sharp edges, and the occasional dragon. So I have a major revision and publishing plan that I've been working on, so I'll probably continue working on that. Although I think he wants to look up some facts first.
My name is Julian. I am a bit of an anime nerd. So
anime nerd.
Yes, and I'm also a bit of a math nerd. So I also just found myself interested in within stories in general. And also, I found that I'm interested within One Piece.
Ooh, oh my goodness. Well, Julian, I can say that we have a lot of anime enthusiasts in the community. Soul absolutely hates One Piece. They never talk about it at all.
Oh, I didn't even know what that was. I just thought he was making something.
So One Piece is basically the super long pirate anime that is basically like over 1,000 episodes.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll go back into that conversation in just a second. Thanks for introing yourselves, Ambrosia. I'll kick it over to you. Maybe. Ambrosia, if you're talking, you need to mute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Whoops. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, I am Ambrosia. I do fantasy, and my current work in progress, I am rearranging some characters and editing some bad sentences.
Ambrosia, as we are all doing, I am editing many bad sentences. So I feel you right there. Definitely feel you. Love having you join us again this week, my friend. And Calvin, save the best for last. I'll let you intro yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Calvin. I write military science fiction and fantasy. And for all those who have been following me,
Storm 2 book has been completed and will be out in the next several months.
Woo! Oh, that is so exciting. I'm like right there with you, Calvin. Oh, so close. Well, I'm so happy to have everyone here and joining us. Man, I was like, there's so many like writing topics that have come to mind lately and that are front of mind for myself. I know this year feels like it's going to be a really good year for writing. I feel very, very confident about our writing, about the writing journey in general. Do you guys feel like you have some really good plans for what you're wanting to do with your writing stuff for 2026? Feeling like generally good, possibly.
I'm sorry, I was on mute, so I couldn't talk, but yeah, I mean, I have ideas of what I'm going to be writing later in the year when I get these pieces done with revision and publishing this all done, which is gonna be roughly May or June. I'll be done, and everything will be scheduled out through the end of the year, and then I'll start writing on the things that I plan to publish next year. Although I have a few things already ready, I just need to have them go through the revision process for next year as well.
I absolutely love that. And I think it's one step at a time. I just threw that question out to the community. What are your writing goals for
Oh, I thought you were
2026?
asking us. I guess that was me. Sorry.
No, you're totally all good. What about the rest of you guys?
I have actually started my own YouTube channel,
Ooh,
and in the
yes.
in the next several months, I'm going to be releasing my stories and my books in an audio format that you can go on the channel and listen to some of them.
Nice.
And I'm gonna put more stuff on my Ream account. So,
Ooh, I love that. That's its own format that I've seen work through YouTube, and I think I see it consistently on TikTok as well, actually. Where it's basically like an audio drama that's posted through YouTube videos, and
yeah.
Interesting. Oh, that's really interesting because then it would really be drawing people to your work in general. Are you going to be doing it in like chapters? Or are you going to just do like 10-hour reading?
Well, I finally actually figured out a way to do it to where I can get an AI voice to read the story for me. I just gotta make sure the format is right, because I don't know if you've ever seen when some AIs read, they read things very glitchy, and it drives me nuts. So I'm trying to avoid that. Right now my goal is I'm just going to put the stories up like take Storm Book 1. I'm putting section 1 up, and that's all I'm putting up. But if I can get enough people interested, I am going to do like a $5 pay account where it's like you can get access to the whole story in audio format.
Please tell me that you're going to record it as an audiobook, file and upload as an audiobook. Yes. Anybody who doesn't have an audiobook, you're missing out. Audiobooks is such a growing market. Of all like markets, audiobook is still continuing to grow exponentially because more people want to listen to books while they're going about their life. The same reason that podcasts have been growing in popularity over the past 5 to 10 years.
That's been my biggest thing. I've heard people, they've always asked me, do you have an audiobook? And I'm like, no. And I'm like, well, I don't have time to read the book. So
but
that's
people
been
are doing
things.
Yeah. I mean, even myself included, it's interesting that my reading style, and I don't know, you guys tell me if you guys read differently, but when I was younger, it was all about paperback books for me. And then what was that? The Nook and the Kindle came out. And then I started reading digitally on the screen. And these days, because I'm so busy, if I'm reading a book, I want the digital format and I want the audio format. I will go through a book switching back and forth depending on what I'm doing in my day. So like one part of my day, I might be reading the book through the digital format. And then another part of my day, I'm going to be listening in on it. So I can keep continuing the narrative regardless of what I'm doing.
I second that. So I've loved my paperback books, loved them, but then ran out of space, right? Not enough bookshelves. Moved into the digital, but for me, I need to have both the digital and the audio because I like to do other stuff with my hands. So I'm a foodie. Shannon knows that. I like to bake. I like to cook. So if I want to be there, or let's say washing dishes for an hour or two, I prefer to be listening to the story that I love while I'm doing that. And then when I get a chance, come back and sit down on the couch and read it by hand. So yeah, I definitely am a fan of the audiobook. Plus I'm a slow reader, so audiobooks got that.
The problem I face now is then I'm like, all right, I get the buy the audiobook, buy the ebook, and then I'm like, well, wait, now I have to showcase on my bookshelf. So now I have to spend the third time if I want the paperback. I'm like, oh man, you've gotten me, Amazon and reader and authors.
Well, unfortunately, and I'm not dissing on paperbacks, but lately nowadays paperbacks are just the equivalent of a hunter's trophy wall.
It kind of is for readers. A lot of readers really take pride in showcasing in the bookcase screenshot in a sense. It's like you're right. It's interesting.
Kickstarters do so well right now because the readers want those like pretty special editions.
Mhm.
Yep.
So because they want their trophies.
You're right. Yeah. Interesting. I wonder if that's why special editions in general are so popular. But I wonder what do you think changed? Like, because obviously bookshelves and displaying has always been a thing. But why do we think that's been more of a trend over this past year?
Well, it's been easier to make special editions.
Yes.
Mm,
Not only
that
that,
makes sense.
For
not
authors.
only that, I've noticed that a lot of people who get special editions don't actually read them. They are literally there just to look at and be pretty, but they might have another less expensive copy of the book. Like, yeah, this is the one I read and I destroy on a daily basis. Because let's
Mhm.
face it, when you're reading the book, you're destroying the poor book's spine.
Mhm.
And some people,
That's
I was just gonna say, some people like my wife, she's got all these special books all these
Mhm.
special edition books, doesn't read them, but she loves looking at them.
But I think most of us who like showing stuff on the walls, like I think that's always been a thing. It's just interesting that it's become more relevant for books in particular, which is
It's
really
like
fascinating.
people who collect comic books,
Exactly.
they want the ones that
Mhm.
that aren't open. So
Mhm.
it's just something else that people collect.
Mhm. Yep. You're absolutely right. I think we're
Unless
all
you're a
collectors and
knickknacker
one.
like me.
What was that?
She's apparently a knickknacker.
Unless you're a knickknacker.
And then you just collect random knickknacks.
Indeed.
Sometimes those are the
I
best.
do.
Then you have the
Guilty.
best variety of interest to display.
Yeah. I just think it's also a
Indeed.
great conversation. Oh, I'm sorry. I think it's a great conversation piece. I mean, if we look at social media right now, there are so many people on the TikToks or whatever that's like, I love this book. Check out this book on my display. So it's both a trophy, but it's also
Mhm.
a conversation piece. And for people who like to decorate too, like people come in like, wow, you have this. I mean, I've seen bookcases where things are like in a chromatic, I think is that the right term? Chromatic scale, like colors, like, wow, you made that work. Like, I definitely did, and I love all of these books here. So I think it's just a combination of social media and just conversation pieces.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think because social media has become, I mean, you could say advertising in general has become it's like a requirement now of authors in this day and age. We're like if we want to sell books anyways, we're required to do a lot of the social media advertising ourselves. I've heard even with authors who are represented by traditional publishing will still have to have social media presences.
I want to know, Janine Bat says also selling hardbacks on retail is really bad for indies. Now I've always
Is
done.
there truth to that?
Well,
I'm not familiar. I know hardbacks are more difficult to sell.
So I sell my paperbacks, my hardbacks on Amazon. Always have. I make $3 to $5 depending on what I'm doing. But my latest release was too many pages. There is a cutoff on Amazon for how many pages you can have for a hardback, and I
Mhm.
exceeded it for the first time. So I did it through Ingram Spark, and because their prices are higher in printing, that hardback is priced at $34.99, and I made 84 cents off of it when I sold a copy.
God.
And
Oh
already
my goodness.
$34.99 for a book for a hardback, I think is a lot of money when it's not special edition or anything.
Mhm.
So can I really, up the price to like $39 for that hardback so that I can make $5?
Yeah, it kind of seems like hardbacks are less about the reading experience and more about the bookcase experience than anything else. Yeah, it seems like the hardback is like similar to like a special edition almost in terms of what the value is for the reader. It's like if you're going to read a book, I'm not going to spend $40 on a book I've never read for a hardback,
Yeah.
but I would spend $40 on a book I probably read X amount of times and love for a series. Like then I would, right? So it's that investment, I think.
Well, that also depends on the author. Let's face
Mhm.
it, no one is dropping $40 on an unknown author who has never really been tested. But more people are willing to drop $40 for a J.K. Rowling book because she had 7 books. So more than likely, I'd more like the 8th book. Now, if you
I
don't
know
like it,
that's
well,
they got me. I
wait.
got all 7 Harry Potter books. You have to have all 7 to showcase all of them. Hence, I think that's another reason that completed series tend to do well and so much better than partial series that are published.
I think that also just falls on some people don't like reading series that aren't complete.
Yeah, I totally get that. But I mean, we're all there, right? Like, if you start a story and it's a good story, you want to know what happens next.
Yeah.
And then if one book just came out, you're like, great, and I have to wait 1 to 2 years to finish the story. That was really awesome.
Or you're like the Game of Thrones fans waiting 10 years.
Oh man, waiting 10 to 20 years. I feel like George R. R. Martin is actually I feel like he's finished the book already and he's actually just waiting until he dies and then like his wife and his publishing company will publish it so that way he doesn't have to deal with reader feedback.
There is no
Maybe you're the person to say I've heard that.
Or you could be having a.
before.
That's possible.
There is no way he can finish.
He could have a time capsule.
There's no way he could finish.
Oh, it's so long.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? I mean, how long does it take to finish a book? And clearly he's dealt with a share of writer's block to finish Game of Thrones. I, of anybody else, like any other fantasy nerd, want to be able to finish reading Game of Thrones, but it'll come out if it's supposed to come out. Yeah. And then, I mean, I think also because Game of Thrones hit such mainstream success during the original show's heyday, there were such increased expectations for people wanting to read the books and have the books end at least in a way that was more rewarding than the TV show. Awesome. And as a side note, I threw this up in the community. I was curious to see what everyone's writing goals were for the community. I know, let's see, where were we? Looks like Ink was also going to be starting a YouTube channel with writing and eating. That's absolutely awesome. Congrats.
I definitely asked for you.
Yeah.
So,
Adesha, is that you?
No, I said for him because he's the foodie.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You are. That's right. You said you're the foodie. Okay. Most important question here. What is your food of choice when working on your books?
that's a hard question right there.
What's like the food that you need to like get motivated and inspired when you're writing? What do you say? Is that looks like some chocolate?
It's chocolate.
So
Cookies.
So this is kind of funny because I am a foodie, but when I am writing, I actually don't eat much more than coffee. Like because once I don't know, it's because once I have a meal, it's gonna be a solid meal. I'm gonna get tired. The words won't be wording anymore. I'm gonna start making mistakes, fall asleep at the keyboard. So usually I try to wait until after I'm done my writing for the day to get anything. But I mean, I love a good smoothie. But if it's been a really good writing day, if I want to treat myself, I would like a curry, some kind of curry, like a side curry, like a green curry or something like that, some Indian food. That's the treat meal of the day.
I absolutely love that. I feel like that fits for most for the average writer. I don't eat while I'm writing, or I don't drink while I'm writing. I eat coffee.
Absolutely. I mean, it's true. I have my instant coffee. I have my non-instant coffee. I have my Instant Pot coffee. I have all the coffees.
Trust me, I get that. I worked in the coffee industry for many, many years, so I understand the value of having the different types of coffee, and having to stay caffeinated. Although lately, I feel like I've been so on the energy drink vibe.
Celsius. That's the one I was using quite a bit of. Never have told me to stop. Like this is too much. This is growing to a drink addiction. Leave it alone. You'll destroy your heart. I'm like, you're probably right. I probably already have. I'm sorry.
And I see some good food choices on the in the chat.
My granddaddy lived to be 90.
What was that?
Granddaddy lived in his 90s and drank coffee all day.
I think that's the way to do it. And it clearly looks like we have a lot of snack love in the chat. We have a dill pickle potato chips. Chips are always good. Chocolate and gummies, water, matcha latte, or 5.
Classic.
Why stick with just one coffee when you could have 5 cups of coffee? Oh man. But okay, so let me think. So writing. So when I think about writing itself, something I've been really curious about just the writing journey. Have you guys been dealing with any obstacles in terms of your writing process at all lately? I'm always really curious if there's any like consistent writing obstacles that we can talk through and help out writers with just writing in general.
Why are prepositions so hard? At least hard for me. I've been going through a edit of my story that I've worked on like literally for a year here. And I'm going through I'm using Pro Writing Aid, which is a great tool I'm blessed to have access to. I'm just like, I know I had some issues with prepositions before, but I'm like, man, this should be so simple. And it's just clearly it's not simple when I'm actually writing. So that is one for me, a very basic grammar point. It's like prepositions. Huh. Who'd have thought?
Interesting. I've I feel like I use prepositions so naturally, and I think what's so fascinating is it seems like most of us as writers have like a thing, like a writing thing that's like the bane of our existence. Mine's always been like descriptions. I like over describe stuff, and I know that about myself. Even with my current stuff is at like it's better. If I was writing this book like 10 years ago, it it would have probably been like a 300,000 word novel, I'm sure.
Yep.
Adeshla and I share that preposition. We were actually talking about this earlier this week. I tend to use the wrong preposition, or I just skip the preposition altogether.
Do you just replace the preposition with a comma?
No, I just don't put it there. Like saying like go or the book of the, I don't know, making something up. The book of the cave, and I put the book the cave.
The book, the cave.
Yep.
It's a style choice. Just run with it, reader.
Yep. I need to add a comma in there, and that'll be a real good style.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
You know what? That's what's funny. I see that a lot with writers. They'll usually replace prepositions with commas. I see that like a lot, or the non-traditional punctuations, right? M dashes, ellipses, and so on and so forth.
Semicolons.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, absolutely. The favorite semicolon. I think of all of them, the semicolon is probably the most misused of all the and this is Kaufman editor hat going on here.
Oh.
Which, let me tell you, I've dealt with my share of semicolons.
Semicolons are only used for very, very specific reasons. In most cases, they're used wrong. So I used to teach that when I was teaching college English and literature. And in one of my colleges, I have to teach punctuation to freshmen in college.
Oh, so you obviously as a teacher, you dealt with your share of being the punctuation police in a sense.
Yeah, had to be.
Yeah.
You would hate my papers. I had grammar out the wazoo in error.
Do you use a lot of punctuation, non-traditional punctuations in your papers, Ambrosia?
Probably so. I'm not very good with grammar. I just have the good imagination and urge to write, so I just write. And
I love
that's
that.
what I'm gonna hire an editor for.
Right, and I think that's part of the process. I think what I'm always so proud of with writers, especially recognizing, because there's a lot of writers out there, Ambrosia, who they will stop themselves from writing because they think it doesn't sound good. And really, they just need a better understanding of grammar and learning the skill. But a lot of writers will stop themselves instead of going through it and recognizing that that's part of the process. And an editor later on will help with that part of the process.
You know what I find?
That's why there's more than one draft.
Yes.
I was just talking about the using Pro Writing Aid. Pro Writing Aid will have you use a semicolon in places where it's, according to grammar rules, is not correct. So
really?
I wonder if it's like, because you know how you can put your work as like fiction or whatever your actually genre is into Pro Writing Aid. I wonder if that is something that it's just picked up because a lot of writers do that.
Well, AI is not that good at basically like grammar sense. It does learn from other people, and people are human, so they make flaws. But semicolons are something that is misunderstood. So I think that is why it might do that with like a semicolons.
Yeah, but for writing it, I think when it comes to the punctuation, it's not built. It's built on an algorithm, I think, which is kind of AI, but not AI in the sense that we're thinking of.
Oh,
Which is interesting because if you write in like AI, like let's say you have ChatGPT produce something, we know that GBT has an over reliance on M dashes and dashes, and just the dashes in general. AI will like M dash the heck out of your writing.
Yeah, well, I M dash the heck out of my own writing, so
I know, right?
Yep.
Remember what was that? There was like that scare, like what was that like 3 or 6 months ago, where a lot of readers were going, "All right, that's AI because there's an over reliance on M dashes." And I'm like, no, some people just like to use M
yeah.
dashes.
My influences was Emily Dickinson and the Raven, the author for the Raven. They both use M dashes a lot in their writing, and they were like what I read a lot when I was growing up. Edgar Allan Poe. Why could I not remember his name? Edgar Allan Poe. Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's the interesting thing, right? I think there's times where you can use non-traditional writing with more intentionality, but I think a lot of times writers don't understand the intentionality behind each of these things.
Well, that's what I'm wondering if like the semicolon is starting to be used in a certain way in writing and fiction writing that's not grammatically correct, but people are starting to use it. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of. Why is it pro writing? They keep telling me to use a semicolon here when a comma is actually the right appropriate punctuation.
That's a good point. I wonder if it's for more variation, like it's trying to introduce more types of variation into language in general. But I mean, I think we already know that AI in general, and probably like you said, that's an AI specific tool, already has an over reliance on just punctuation.
Yeah.
Suddenly now, in the past 2 years, everyone has become very effective at using dashes correctly.
Maybe.
And I mean, that was always the correct way. Like if you go towards like the Chicago Manual of Style, right? Like you're supposed to use dashes a certain way, not M dash, but the normal dashes for connecting words. But
And
most people just haven't used them
hyphen.
correctly. Now everyone uses them correctly. I'm like, oh, I wonder why GBT and AI programs.
Yeah, there's actually 3 separate. There's a hyphen, there's an N dash, and an M dash, and they're all
Yep.
used 3 different
And
ways.
nobody knows what the N dash is, right? Most people are familiar with the hyphen and the M dash, but people don't realize the N dash is a middle one.
Yeah.
Okay. Look at that.
You'll learn about it, I'm sure.
But the N dash is used so infrequently, so
Yeah,
it's like
there's very
kind of
few
like
reasons to use it.
like a non-starter.
Yeah.
So you were talking about goals and this year. For me, I don't know if we consider this a goal or not, but it fits into general writing grammar, well, not grammar, but writing elements.
Okay.
I'm really working on learning scene and sequel. If people are familiar with this, it's something Jim Butcher talks about a lot. He learned it from his teacher Chester. It's basically how to, I don't know, it's how to basically set up your story in a way that just chains together very well. That's the easiest way for me to describe it. Are you guys familiar with scene and sequel?
Scene and sequel. No, describe that. What was that?
I say he knows I am. We've talked about scene and sequel. We did a podcast episode. I think we talked about it.
Yeah.
Share that first. So what is scene and sequel
So
specifically?
as a non-expert, I'll try to explain it as my understanding of it is coming together. So scene is your action moments, right? So not necessarily the movie idea of a scene and a sequel, but just like a scene is like what.
Okay. It's a structural. So it's like a storytelling. It's a storytelling structural model.
Yes, absolutely. So all the
Gotcha.
all the
Okay.
dialogue,
And so for our viewers, for anyone who doesn't know, Hero's Journey, Save the Cat. It's like a way of structuring the story.
It's within those beats though that scene and sequel
it's within the beats. Okay.
It's within the beats because it's like, okay, that guy over there just hit me. And now in my head, I'm thinking through, oh my God, he just hit me. What should I do? That's the sequel part of it. So you have the action, then you have the sequel. And so if you have like a book that goes, and you feel like you never get a chance to stop and just like take a breath, they're probably missing some needed sequels in there.
So it's on 2 scales, and once again, Deborah Chester has a book on it. Jim Butcher has someone actually was asking about that on Fanfanic, I think it's called. But Oh, my screen did something weird here. But so scene sequel or big elements.
They also talk about it in this.
So the breaking.
I just pulled this up on Google while you're
Okay.
talking.
Oh, nice. So scene and sequel, thank you. Is kind of the bigger thing. So like a scene, you'll have the whole showdown with whatever bad guy, right? All the actions happening, all the dialogue, and then we can't, like Shane would say, we just can't keep that pace up. We need a moment to kind of recoup, right? And so the sequel, that's basically the repercussion, the results of whatever happened, whatever went wrong in the scene in the last scene. We have a moment, a breather, where the character kind of regathers himself, goes through the emotions, replans what they're going to do next. You're kind of plotting the story in front of the reader, right?
Well, sometimes it doesn't include all of that. It could be like a single sentence. It's like, well, that happened, and then you move on to the next thing. So the sequel can be a single sentence, like what Adeshle is saying, that you kind of want to have that full moment so that. Sorry, Adeshle.
No, you're good. You're good. So, and they have it broken down. I can probably, if I try real hard, remember all the pieces of it. But writers who do really good, if you ever read the Dresden Files by Jim Booker or any of his other work, he does a great job at that. So it's just larger beat mechanics that we can utilize to keep the story going in the correct way. When they minimize it into like really like going sentence by sentence, they talk about action reaction. I throw the ball, Thomas catches the ball, Thomas throws the ball back. An action reaction sequence right there. It's like a chain link. And they might have a moment of introspection if something happens or they respond in a way that is weird to us. We're like, why did they respond that way? So you might have a thought, like a sentence thought, right? And then them continue on. But when you need a bigger breather, when all the people are at camp are thinking, all right, what are we going to do next to find the big bad? When they're thinking, that's the kind of sequel. I hope that makes sense.
They also talk. This is a podcast episode we just did, was writing deep scenes. They talk about scene and sequel, but this is talking about how to set up your scenes, and it uses scene and sequel in there as well. So it gave me more insight on scene and sequel as well. So that was something I just read.
Interesting. I think any way that that can help writers to understand beats, story beats, and how to transition from one story beat to the next is always a win. And it sounds like this is a really effective way of transitioning character beats and understanding motivation.
Is an equal and opposite reaction. According to Newton's law of emotion.
So
I was nerd.
So has it made your writing better since you've started researching this and understanding it?
My understanding of writing and why I like things and how to keep the pacing from dulling, it's really helped me with that. So for me, I'm very much an introspective writer. So it's very easy for me to kind of stay into the character's head. Or it's very easy for me just to go straight action. So this has provided me a way of kind of balancing the two. So I'll save some of my deeper character thoughts or feelings or concerns for kind of more appropriate time. So it makes everything just flow better, if that makes sense. It's like if we were talking about music, it'd be like studying a scale. Knowing the different notes to play to make something sound good. And I can change the type of notes, but like there's a certain, figure to the notes that I'm using. So anyways, yeah, it's helping me. It's making the editing part a little bit more challenging because I'm like, why did I do this with my writing? I should have did this. I should have did that. So I wish in some ways I had studied it before
you started.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you, AI is really bad at doing sequel because that is the introspective moment, and it's very, very bad at doing it. So I've picked up a lot of books over the last year that I have DNF'd. I'm like, okay, she just did this, and they got through this, and they got this big thing happen, and then we're the next thing. Oh, then they're going to the next big thing. I was like, well, what did she think about what just happened there, and how did she make the decision to go from what happened there to the decision to go to this place?
So maybe I can help give an example of how this might work a little clearly. Mind you, I didn't pull up any notes on this. So let's say husband and wife, they get into an argument. The wife says, that's it, divorce. Slams the door, kicks the husband out the house, right? Boom. That's That's the end of a scene. They had a whole bunch of dialogue before that, back and forth. It ended bad for the husband who loves his wife, right? Like that's not good. Now we're in the sequel as he stands out in front of the door thinking what to do. So one, he's like, his heart's beating, right? That's the emotional part. That's one of the first things happen. Oh, my heart is pitter pattering. So you might describe that.
Yeah.
And then he feels sad and frustrated and angry, right? That happens. You write that. And then he's thinking like, well, what do I do? Where do I go next? You know, what does this mean for our family? He starts weighing his options, right? Maybe I can go to my sister's house. Maybe she'll let me in. Maybe my friend Joe will help me out here, right? He's like, I want to go to Joe's house and he'll have some good advice and maybe there's a way I can work this out with my wife, right? All of that decision up until he gets to his car to go to his friend Joe's house is all the sequel. But
It would be like if the husband, if the wife kicked him out, and the very next scene he's out the door with roses. You've missed all of what Adesha was just talking about. All that thinking, all that feeling about what you're like. Wait, how did he? Why is he back with flowers? Did he just figure out some way to make this work all of a sudden, or does he think the flowers are just going to solve it? You have no
Interesting.
idea.
It's almost trying to help an author or writer understand one of the biggest strengths of books. One of the greatest strengths of the written form is that we get to see inside a character's head. You cannot do that with
Feel what they're
screenplays.
feeling, like
You
what
can't-
Adesha was saying. Yeah.
Mhm. I think that's something really powerful. And I think understanding that can help too. Absolutely. Be able to unlock your just another level of skill as a writer.
If you've ever read like stories where people are sitting around just talking, and the next scene they're sitting around talking, next scene they're sitting around talking, you got all sequels. You have nothing happening.
Boring.
Like, people are just like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that happened. Oh, do you remember when that happened? Yeah, that happened.
Mhm.
And that's all they're doing. Then there's nothing happening. Yeah.
Right, because then there's no what's
Tension.
that? I'd pull back and wonder if it almost seems like there wouldn't really be enough action
Yeah, they're
going
not
on in the
they're not
story.
doing anything from what they're talking about. They're just sitting around
Mhm.
talking. There's no
The term
It's
I
not
believe
attention.
be stagnant.
Yeah. Now the
It-
dialogue
it-
could have tension. If there's tension and there's power dynamics going on in the dialogue, now you have a scene. But
Mhm.
Yeah, and so while I'm studying scene sequel, I'm basically Deborah Chester book. I'm like just diving into all of it. And so one of the things they're talking about is that every scene needs to have basically an objective, and does the character reach that objective or not? And she stresses like everyone is trying to win based off of whatever their own personal objectives are. And a scene must have at least two people so that you have conflict. It doesn't have to be a bad guy, but someone's going to be antagonist. So it can't be just everything's great, everything's wonderful. Like there's going to be some sort of conflict going on. They can really highlight that. And after that conflict, whatever goes wrong, because the scene usually everything goes wrong until the very end in one fashion or form, until your hero has achieved their goal, right? Then we get into those sequels. And those, as Shannon was saying, those sequels can be long and short depending on what your goals are. And you can go even more emotional, so for like romance, or less emotional if you're looking for that kind of noir detective beat.
and you can play with these where, like, if you're in a part of your story where you want the pacing to be quicker, your sequel can be really short. And you just move on to the next scene happening. But you still have to have like something in there, whether it's an emotional reaction, a thought process, or something. Something has to be there for the readers to be able to say, well, how did they get from point A to point B? How did they decide to move between these 2 points?
And make us care about the character too, right? Because that's what you call when you're talking about that intentionality. Like, and why do we care? Well, I understand what this character is thinking and feeling. They're not just doing like I understand what they're going through. We've identified their emotional response. We identified their weighing of decisions and options. We've seen what their plans are, and they're like, I'm going to do this, even though this may or may not be the best thing. This is what I can do right now. So after seeing all, they're like, well, based on this character, that makes sense. I'm ready for the next conflict that you're going to put this character through.
Well, I would say that you may not necessarily need that part, though, if you're further along in the story. If you've gotten the reader to care about the main character's point of view or whatever they're doing, I think we get far enough in the story that you don't have to like continue to bring that in unless it's like a change in their emotional landscape. So,
right, because ultimately, right, how do we get the readers to care? And
Yeah,
that
you'll
is ultimately our goal as authors,
as you
right?
approach the climax, usually stories pick up pacing, and so
Mhm.
some of your sequels will be shorter. But now
Mhm.
we've spent, 75% of the book already or story with the main characters.
Mhm. Awesome. Well, I know I am definitely ready to
With
continue on with my writing.
my
So I think this is a perfect time to segue into a writing sprint. So let's get some writing done. We'll kick into our first writing sprint, and then we'll come back and we'll all chat. The next question that came to mind was, I'm curious what everyone thinks their strengths are as writers. Because I'm like, I feel like we're probably really good at certain things. So I'm going to kick that to the chat. We'll come back after the writing sprint and we'll talk it up some more. If you're hanging out here in the live stream or you're watching this on the replay and you don't know what to write, I actually have a writing challenge for you, which we are currently hosting for our weekly writing challenges in the Discord. Our current Discord writing challenge is, what cliffhanger can you come up with that's surprising, clever, effective? It could be original. It could be something of a story that you've already published. What types of cliffhangers? Maybe it could be the end of a book or the end of a chapter. What are the best cliffhangers that come to mind? You can drop them in the chat. You can go hop over to our Discord link down in the YouTube description and come join the weekly writing challenge. The winner of each week gets voted on by our community on Mondays, and then you'll get entered into the Hall of Epic Writers. So that's the challenge. Come join us for our weekly writing challenge, and let's get into a writing sprint. So I have it queued up on the chat here, or on the screen. We have 30 minutes on the clock. Let's see just what we can accomplish. We'll come back, we'll check in after the sprint, and let's push. So, whether you are writing, editing, revising, author branding, brainstorming, or something in between, come join us because it's time to write now. All right, and that is the writing sprint. That is our first writing sprint. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. How did that treat you? Were you able to get any words? Were you able to make any progress? Hopefully, just hopefully. What did you accomplish that time? We did 30 minutes for that first one. Drop a comment. We would love to hear. And first off, it looks like we lost Calvin and we were replaced with a wild JL.
Hello, wild JL sighting. Yes.
JL, real quick, you want to quick
Woo!
intro?
Oh, sure. Yes, hi, I'm JLD, published author of Spicy Romance and author tuber. Check out the Hotspot with JL on YouTube for my informative and cute, quirky videos, and also join Writers Inc. if you're interested in writing circles and publishing help. On
Yay,
Discord.
JL. Always love having you over here, my friend.
Thank you.
And the writing sprint. I know you popped up just at the beginning of it. How did the writing sprint treat you guys? Any progress?
I got back into where I left off. I have
Mhm.
I've been putting little placeholder scenes,
Mhm.
and I'm writing the connective tissue, if you will, to
Mhm.
those placeholder scenes. So I'm trying to kind of fill things in, and I've just got my bearings. So
Yay. It's always interesting when you're having to look at it from like a different angle like that, from a bigger perspective.
yeah, it's crazy. Why does it say everybody else is offline?
Sometimes the studio can be a little funky. You can hear us, right?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I would say just restart the studio, just refresh.
Just hit refresh. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, refresh your screen and it'll fix. What about the rest of you guys? Any progress that time?
Yeah, started writing the character that I was working on last week, the one with partial blindness. I
Mhm.
actually found a good rhythm to write him, and I'm kind of starting his story a little bit. Just mainly, I want to start getting it down, and then I'm gonna go back to something else afterwards. But I at least
Mhm.
want to get that started. And I got just over 1,000 words with that, so
So we're always impressed with your word count. So it's like your like low day for a 30-minute sprint is 1,000.
that is actually about the truth. And on a good day for 30 minutes, I clocked myself. I actually average about a 1,200.
You're a fast typist. I think that's awesome. I'm like my average for writing sprint 300 words, but they're quality. They're the best words ever written in mankind. Any progress on the rest of your guys' stuff?
I
Oh,
can see and hear everybody now, so I'm really sorry if I talked over someone earlier.
Oh
Everybody
no,
else
you're good.
is
Nobody was talking. You were good.
okay.
Sometimes it's just Kaufman mumbling crazily to himself.
Always a treat.
Okay, wait. Give me a Dashley.
Deshalé, yes, sir. I am
Okay.
here.
What were you saying?
I am here. Any hero, my Hero Academia fans thing to me. So what was I saying? So I was jamming to the music, and I worked on thinking through or trying to figure out series titles, title name, because like I have what the book is called for
Mhm.
myself, but that doesn't mean I can use that book out in the public. So I was like, all right, I need to think of a title that will work for everyone. They will understand it in a series title. So I did that and then started thinking about what my particular writing strengths were, which was hard, but that's what I did.
Ooh, that's a good question. So I had I'll throw up some of the answers we had in the chat in just a second. But in terms of that particular sprint, it looks like we had Megan 323 words. Nice. Almost to 10 total in first draft. Excellent. 726 words. Oh, Ink, you're almost at 10,000. Nice. Bazinga. That's what's up. Love it. And looks like nice. So it sounds like we made a little bit of progress. And Ambrosia, I saw you were asking some questions in the chat as well. It looked like you were having a good conversation.
Oh yeah. The character I have, the Guardians. You got the MC Guardian and the main
Mhm.
girl, and then you have the supporting Guardians, right? So one of
Mhm.
the supporting Guardians that I have, I originally wrote as male, and I've been debating on making the character female.
Ooh, that's
The
an interesting one.
ability would be like smarts, like wisdom, like retaining wisdom, almost like Sheldon Cooper. Like I was saying in the chat, like Sheldon Cooper has all the brain smarts, photogenic memory,
Mm-hmm.
retaining wisdoms, that sort of thing. And then like really tech savvy, so like it pulls in the metal around them and makes technology,
Mm-hmm.
like tech robots or something like that, if you will. And so it basically given that dynamic to a female character of abilities. And then on top of that, it would have like spunky, smart mouth, sass. Like it was the male character would be the male terms for those kind of characteristics, if you will.
That sounds
So
fun. Sounds like you're
I would
also
make
having some
more
fun.
of a female version, but the other dynamic would be I thought about this last night or
Mm-hmm.
yesterday, um, of giving the character dwarfism. Not dwarf like fantasy dwarf, but the
Mm-hmm.
legitimate genetic conditioning of dwarfism,
Mm-hmm.
like the imp from Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, but a female one, because you never hear of a female dwarfism
Mm-hmm.
in literature or
Yeah,
like
I
I've
agree.
seen
I
it
think that's a good
in
route. I think that's
one
an interesting route
movie.
to go. I feel like with something like that, with dwarfism, you probably have to research to understand to understand uh, logistically, so you can write that type of character well and correctly without upsetting people. That feels cool. It sounds like you're focused on
Yeah. Well,
some
the
character
I
development as well.
googled, I guess to say,
Hmm.
yes, major character development, just tweaking them because I feel like the most character that I didn't have any connection with was this
Hmm.
particular character because it didn't something was off on it, and I think this is something that would work. I'm just debating between male and female. I definitely
Ink,
feel like dwarfism is some way I want to go. So
Ink is definitely saying that maybe your dwarf is a total grump who doesn't like anyone.
that's typical dwarfism too. uh,
You're right.
or
That
you're
might
just
go stereotypical.
antisocial.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Ambrosia. Shannon, were you guys able to get any progress on your end?
So Julian went to look up some facts, and we started off with One Piece and how long it would take to watch all of One Piece. And what did it come up with?
Soul, do you know that answer? Julian, if I interrupted earlier, but Soul is like literally the One Piece like fan in this community.
So,
Soul like knows One Piece like the back of their hand.
Pretty much. Most of my fan fictions are One Piece. I have two that aren't, and technically one of those two is a crossover with One Piece. So, so I actually did see somebody talk about that one day. If you watch One Piece all the way through, God, I think it'd take almost 2 weeks. But then again, they were also taking breaks to like sleep and everything, so it may not have been like totally accurate.
I'm guessing like 200 hours.
so
No, more than that.
So it would take between 4.5 to 5 months.
That's 3 hours a day. So it's 422 to 460 minutes, depending on the length of the episodes.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Yeah, the
hey,
person
if
I heard from,
anybody's
they were
needing a
watching
5-month
like 8
commitment.
hours a day.
And it has at least 1,150 episodes.
Mhm.
That was what he went to research.
And
5 months worth of viewing.
But that's
Content.
probably also including fillers though, and fillers take up a fair amount.
I am actually on episode 138.
Oh,
Nice.
And it's a filler arc, but I do plan to. But the filler arcs are actually enjoyable compared to most other anime, like for example Naruto. It would,
Mhm.
which Naruto's filler arcs are just really boring, while basically One Piece's filler arcs seem to be part of the story itself.
Yeah, they are somewhat related to the story. They aren't. None of the filler arcs are actually in the manga, but the filler arcs aren't entirely useless in terms of the anime. So they don't have to be there, but they also aren't really that bad. So
what's interesting is we always get so much. We do get a lot of anime fans actually come through the community and a lot of fan fiction. Okay, I'm like, so for those anime fans there, it sounds like Julian, Soul, Deshile. What are your guys' favorite? Is One Piece your guys' favorite animes? I'm just curious off the top of my head. Mine's always been One Note.
Nope.
If you don't watch anime, sorry.
Death Note? Do you mean like Death Note?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that one.
Mm-hmm.
The one where basically the guy writes someone's name into a notebook and they basically die.
Yep.
And it's basically the whole dark.
I got bored of that one. I got bored of that one.
You're like, it's not dark enough.
I liked the movie with Willem Dafoe.
Nope,
I thought
dark
he was
enough.
great.
Oh man. Well, I like totally.
I have to throw an old one at you. Mine was Tokyo Mew Mews.
What
I was into Robotech.
What the heck is Tokyo Mew Mews?
I think I heard of that one, but that's one of those like really old ones, ain't it?
I was into Robotech in the 80s.
After Sailor Moon.
Sailor Moon? Yeah, that one, like a Sailor Moon.
I've heard of Sailor Moon.
Early 2000s, maybe. But I also liked Fruits Baskets and Fairy Tale.
Nice.
I'm not into anime, but I did watch Blue Eye Samurai, and I like it.
Yes. I cannot wait for season 2.
Yeah.
Sword Art Online.
One thing that I do think that we always come back to with the animes is that seeing animes adapted to live screen, to live action, and seeing them adapted into other formats is always really fascinating to me. When we think about our stories as authors, I'm sure at some point we might think about, well, what if it's adapted to the screen, and what does that look like?
I must be an oddball because I'm like, I don't want to adapt it because it means you have to cut stuff out.
It's not going to
but you know, something that I did really like, I'm sure some of you guys have heard with the Brandon Sanderson deal, that he was notable as one of the first authors that got his stuff picked up by Apple Plus, but he's maintaining full creative control.
Nice.
Which is like that never happens for authors.
That's
especially
hard to
authors. One of the reasons that shows like Game of Thrones, so many book series that get adapted to TV shows or movies don't do well.
Julian wants to say goodbye to everybody.
I will
Game
be
of Thrones stayed good until they screwed up and they ran out of material.
Bye. I will be like taking my shower. Bye.
Then once they ran out of books because George R. R. Martin can't write fast enough.
Bye, Mom.
Bye, baby. Okay, thank you.
Aw.
I actually have to admit, when writing the second Pirates book, some of those scenes that I had trouble with, I actually did try to imagine what they would look like if they would be turned into like an animation or a movie or even like a TV show, just to try to figure out, okay, well, if I wrote it this way, how would this look? It actually did kind of help me through a few of those scenes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I see the same exact thing. I'm like, what if Scarecrow was turned into another type of adaptation? And CGI is definitely capable of creating that type of universe now.
Yeah,
definitely.
Motion capture.
Yeah.
I'm like wondering, would it be better as like a live action? When you have a world that's full of basically animals and creatures, live action, anime.
Okay, having live action with animals is really tricky, though. They're still trying to really figure that out.
It's tricky, but it can be done, right? So you see things like Wicked, where they have animals in it. You see some of the Disney ones where the animals can be captured correctly. But I don't think some of those movies, I don't think they did poorly because of the animal captures. I think it's more just the storytelling. But I mean,
look at the first Lion King. Look at the first. Look at the Lion King, the live action version of that, and just that is not a way to do the animals. They were almost too human.
I think what you're talking about was the live action Cats adaptation.
Oh God, no! We do not.
No, we're not even talking about that.
Kaufman. Where's my spray bottle?
That's called crossing over into the uncanny valley.
that movie.
It's not even uncanny
We
valley.
shall
It's just
ban those
worse.
terms on this. You are no longer talking.
I do want to say thank you for letting my son be a part of everything. I know some people were here before, but he is autistic and leaving out tomorrow for a funeral for his great grandmother, and so he was like crying off and on. He was like, "Mom, I just want to stay with you," and I said, "Well, I'm gonna be on live. Do you want to come with me?" And he was like, "Yeah." So he was crying a few times, but yeah.
Oh, of course.
Sweet.
Of course, we always love giving good vibes to everyone and inviting everyone into the community. Maybe he'll be a little.
I could tell that his spirit was lifted up by everything that you guys were talking. Especially when we talked about the anime, he was like so excited.
Oh, I know these guys. I enjoy anime as well, but these guys are. We get a lot of anime fans in the community, and I think it's because of the fan fiction side of it. Because fan fiction is a really popular form of writing, so as such, a lot of anime enthusiasm. I feel like we rarely go a writing live stream without touching on some type of anime reference. Actually, surprisingly,
pretty much.
Y'all anime people, they're everywhere. Your special little fan bunch is pretty cool.
Yeah, there's always one.
But I mean, I think one of the things that I love about fan fiction is that fan fiction, I mean, I started way back in fan fiction and role-playing forums, is that it has a pre-existing world. So then you get to just practice on character development and plotting. I think fan fiction is a phenomenal way for people to practice in worlds that they love.
Well, and all you have to do if you come up with something original enough is just swap out the names and voila, you got a whole new thing, you know?
One day there will be some Scarecrow fan fictions. I see it
would
in
y'all
my mind.
consider
People will create
Lord
it.
Olympus?
Okay, so on that note, so we don't run out of time, let's hop into our next writing sprint. Now, I did pose a question to the chat about your strengths. What are your strengths as a writer? But so we don't lose time, let's drop them into the chat. I want to hear from you if you haven't posted already. What are your strengths as a writer? Because we always want to bring good vibes to the writing community and see just how much we have in common. So drop that in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And we're going to queue up our second writing sprint because we need to make some progress. All right. And what do we have? Let's see 25 minute. Awesome. So we will queue up our second sprint. 30 minutes. We'll see just what we can accomplish. I believe in us. Let's go. Let's do it. So whether you're writing, editing, revising, author branding, brainstorming, or something in between, come join us because it's time to write now. All right. And that is a writing sprint. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Oh, how did that sprint treat y'all? Hopefully, we were able to make some progress, some momentum, some words. I see some progress in the chat. Nice. Ink an oven. Yay, you hit 10,000. Megan, 519 words, 842 words total tonight. Nice. Awesome work, my friends. Sounds like we're making a little bit of a push, which is absolutely incredible. What about the rest of you guys? Any luck?
Got a chapter done, got that first moment for this character done, and I think I have kind of the basis for what he's going to be like much later in the story. So
Ooh.
he just sounds like the very much younger version of what I had kind of pictured in the end, and I think it came across well.
Nice. Getting through a chapter is nice progress. That always feels really rewarding. I see in the chat, Michael, you got 847 words. Nice. High five.
I got just under 500, which is pretty good because I was still trying to piece things together and remind myself what I had written before that I need to refer to. So that can be a little tedious, but I've almost hit 30,000 on this book.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah, so I'm stoked. Hopefully I can have it wrapped up before the chaos of moving sets in. That would be awesome if I could do that.
What about the rest of you guys? Any luck?
I got some highlighting done for some areas I want to go check on later on. I'm basically doing a spot check, like going through the whole document, highlight, and then the next day I'll come back and zone in those portions.
So important. We got to fix all the things for it to be readable.
So no writing. It's
I
hard
had
for me
mom
to-
stuff come up. I put the little one to bed.
It happens. Sound similar for you, Shannon?
Yeah, so I just worked on looking at promotions that are upcoming throughout the year that I could get into between Book Funnel and Story Origin with all the publications I have coming out. So
it's all important. And this is what I always tell writers, right? It's just, even though when you're not putting words to page, there's so many other parts of the writing process or the author branding side of it, which is so important. I think the challenge is how to make sure we're allotting enough time to do all the things without getting distracted and still writing the books. But everything is so important. If we don't figure out the author branding, the advertising, the things, then nobody reads the book. So absolutely agreed. I love that. I either got 0 words or 10,000 words. I'm not sure. I was formatting, so I was kind of speed reviewing. So but I'll probably just stick with 10,000 words. It sounds better.
yeah, sounds good to me.
No, but I'm so proud. I literally just finished revisions on Act 2. So I'm like, the second act of my book is now ready for beta readers, which I'm really excited. I know. Scarecrow's split up into a 4-act structure. So I'm basically sending it to beta readers in each of the separate acts. Yeah. So I feel very accomplished. And it looks like we got some progress in the chat as well. But this brings us to that time of the writers group. So we appreciate all of you. Remember that writers group is every single Wednesday. Same time, same place, where we're joined with writers of the community. The writers group, after 83 meetings and many more to come, is our way to create an open forum, an open place for all writers to come join us, hang out, chat about writing, and get some writing done. So that's what we got this week. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. I'll let all y'all do your quick outros. We'll go the opposite way this time. Shannon, I'll kick it over to you to outro yourself.
I'm Shannon. I do have a YouTube channel here under SC Houston, and I run weekly writing sprints Monday through Thursday. And each one's slightly different. 3 of those days is strictly timed, so 1 hour long sprints with 5-minute breaks. Mondays is my long day where I don't strictly time it. And then on Fridays, I do a 1 hour sprint of book marketing. So if anyone's interested in like seeing what I'm doing for book marketing or whatever, and I talk about my results from what I did from the last week of stuff that I did the previous week. So yeah.
I love that. I feel like anytime I hop in your streams, they're always like really long writing sprints. I need more. I need more of that.
Friday is short. It's just a 1 hour sprint and me talking about my intentions of what I'm doing for book marketing and then my results and stuff like that. So
What's your YouTube channel
Absolutely.
again?
Oh, SD Houston. Yeah, it's here. My name. Sorry, I was going to spell it, but I'm partially tone deaf, so I probably wouldn't say it well enough.
I find you. Okay, I'll subscribe.
Yay.
Awesome. Ambrosia.
Can you link it in the chat, Toph?
Yeah, I'll throw it in the chat. If you want to outro, say goodbye. Okay.
Hey guys, thanks for showing. I'm Ambrosia, and you can find me in the Discord.
Yay. And JL, the wonderful.
Hello, I'm JLD. My YouTube channel is The Hotspot with JL, where we talk about all things smutty and also some writing advice. And I am getting ready to pop into my own writing sprint if anybody wants to join. I think Kaufman usually links that in the chat too. My Discord will be going until our eyes start bleeding, basically. We just write and help each other critique and sprint and critique and help and inspire and have a generally good time with all kinds of shenanigans.
Yay. And Adashile.
Hey there, guys. Definitely .right. So you can find me on YouTube and Substack. I'm be working on both of those this year here, especially the old Substack and whatever place else I'm sent. Right. And yeah, just say hi. Shoot me an email. Same email address, but at gmail.com.
Excellent. And Soul, on to you.
I'm Chat Soul. You can find me as Chat Soul on the Discord. Any questions about the Discord or writing or anything, more than welcome to send me a message. Usually writing fan fictions or playing games lately, although I am trying to work on my personal projects, as hopefully Age of Ash will be coming out at some point this year.
Yay, so exciting. Absolutely love that. And everyone, thank you so much for joining us this week. We appreciate you. Make sure that if you want to keep in contact, you want to hang out with us, join the Right Now Discord. It's linked down in the YouTube description. This is where we'll hang out outside of the streams, writers chat, memes, games, getting help with your stories, and all the things in between. So come join us. That's where we hang out in between the streams and we'll get some writing done. If you're looking for more things to do, hang out. JL, like she shared over in her Discord, they're doing their writers circle starting right now in her Discord. Casual co-working workshop session hangout with a bunch of other writers. Highly recommend if you want to just keep hanging out with writers in a casual, fun conversation. So definitely very, very fun. Go hang out with them. And that's all that we got. I'll be back tomorrow with another daily writing sprint stream. I'm Kaufman. These are all our friends, and we'll catch you in the next stream. Stories are forever. I'm Kaufman, and I'll catch you on the morrow. Stay creative, writers. It's time to write
Right now.
Sorry.
Right now, not right now, but right now. Read now, right now. Is that right?
Words are wind, but